Hey everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at BC's latest move at trying to tackle the housing crisis. I'm Tyler, and welcome back to another episode of The Hizzy Hustle. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into BC government's next move in trying to tackle this housing crisis. If you're in the Okanagan like myself, then you're going to be somewhat affected by this, particularly in Penticton and Vernon, because those are the two places that have been added to the list in my local area. 10 other communities have been set there, with Langley and Langford, I believe, being some of them. Kind of a tricky one because the provincial government really doesn't do a lot to actually help. They just put out requirements to do stuff where, in a tough market, it's going to be hard to get these developments going without the expense being pushed onto the taxpayer because private sector just doesn't see the money in it right now, right? So without further ado, let's hop into this article here by Global News, which will be linked in the description. So BC has set housing targets for 10 municipalities, including Burnaby, Coquitlam, Courtenay, the township of Langley, Langford, Penticton, Pitt Meadows, Richmond, Squamish, and Vernon. The ministry says that the news release for each municipality has been given 5-year targets starting September 1st and will reflect 75% of their estimated housing needs. So let's just take a quick look here at this video. You'll see some people aren't necessarily too happy with it, which is totally understandable, but let's just take a look here to see what they're saying.
The backhoes are in the ground and buildings are going up, but Langford City Council is being told it has to dig even deeper.
Surprised, frustrated, a little bit angry, to be honest.
The Vancouver Island municipality is among the next cohort to have housing targets set by the provincial government, joining Courtenay, Burnaby, Coquitlam, Penticton, Pitt Meadows, Richmond.
So there's the whole map of the region that has been affected by all of these. Obviously, the Lower Mainland's the main region, which is really, really tough because if you guys have been anywhere or driving down in the Lower Mainland, especially coming down on that highway, it's crazy the amount of construction that's going on and the backed up. And it's literally been like that since I can remember driving, like my whole life. I'm 31, right? So how long have I had an N license that I've been able to drive down to Vancouver for now? 13 years that they've been working on this stuff. So it's not, whatever they're doing doesn't seem to be working, but what can you do, right? So yeah, let's
Squamish, Vernon, and the township of Langley.
I mean, my initial reaction is that I do not know what more the township of Langley can realistically be expected to do in terms of creating even more housing than it already has been.
Both the township of Langley and Langford are some of the fastest growing communities in Canada, let alone BC. They say they're delivering more than their share of new housing, and now it's time for the province to do its part.
It's more than we can even handle, let alone when we consider schools, hospitals, and, number 10 highway and other issues.
Which is huge in a lot of other areas too, because in Vernon, we don't even have a walk-in clinic anymore because they all shut down. So there's private family doctors or whatever, which you can't even get a new doctor. The only reason why I have one is because I've lived here my whole life. So anybody that moves here can't even get a doctor. You're going to have to go to a different city or use online doctors. So there's a huge issue when it comes to, it's not housing, it's everything related to the government's hold on all the sectors, right? They need to let the free market run. Like, with building is a perfect example. There's 30 cents on every dollar is spent on bureaucracy and some type of government agency, which is just insane, right? Like, realistically, there's no reason why, and I'm being conservative on this, there's no reason why that cost can't be down to at least 10%. It's got to be at least, like, between 5 and 10% of every dollar should be going to a government bureaucracy bureaucracy. There's no reason why anybody in the government needs to have any type of say in what happens on a construction site. I'm sorry, there should be rules in place 100%, and those rules should be followed, but you don't need to constantly be checking in with these people and making sure that things are going in whatever way that they want it to go. Like, it's putting way too much time up in the wind. It's taking these projects too long to get going, and the profitability becomes way more volatile because you don't know what market you're going to be selling in, especially when these 2-year windows become so risky, I guess you could call it, right? Like, you really don't know where your money's going to be at.
The province is not adequately addressing.
Infrastructure is one thing, but here in Langford, the priority is addressing the doctor shortage.
So we're looking for 1.7 million for tenant improvements.
They've built it with the hope 10 doctors will come. That is, if the province gets the project over the finish line.
And that will open the doors and have those doctors meeting the needs of our community as soon as possible.
BC's housing minister admits the latest round of communities to be added to the Housing Targets program are already making good progress.
And I have full confidence that they all will meet their targets, but it's important that we align federal government, provincial government, and local governments in what our goals are and where we want to go, and that's what this last round was about.
The targets must be met within 5 years, or the province will move in to streamline the city's approval processes. But judging by all the action here on the ground, the city says the pressure feels out of step with reality.
We're doing everything we can, absolutely everything we can.
Kylie Stanton, Global News.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that really bothers me with a lot of these things is that the government always says, like, you have to do this, but then realistically the only people that are in the way of things getting completed tend to be the government, right, and all their legislation. So it's a tricky one, but it's something happening. Each municipality is given a set of guidelines that recommends the number of units and by size. The ministry says that more than 14,000 homes will be below market rentals, which is just, I don't know how we're able to explain to people that are in the government that putting taxpayer money into markets and giving taxpayer money to essentially fund these below market rentals and stuff like that, it puts strain on the economy and the cost of living goes up, and then it doesn't actually help any issues. All I'm seeing from these types of policies is that the stress is just going to get put onto people to get things done, and if they're not done, then what's going to happen? The province is going to step in and pay for it, or who's taking the risk here, right? Like, I understand that municipalities and homes need to be built, but have you seen the market that we're working in right now? Like, there's no real influence in trying to build any of these high rises and smaller homes and stuff like that because no one wants to buy them. Like, I don't understand who you're building these for. The market needs to be more directed towards building profitable and reasonable homes for the middle class to move up in. Family homes, the first time family homes, the first time yarded properties, the middle class property, like the second time home buyers. Those types of people, I think, are the ones that are really going to allow the market to move, because if you give them any opportunity to make some money and to take that equity forward, then they're going to be able to release the housing for potentially less than what would be needed in order to move forward in this current market, right? Because it's really, really expensive. Life is not an easy go anymore, and if you're trying to do anything related to get yourself ahead in life, then it's going to be a real struggle moving forward. So I would think that would probably be a big big help when it comes to these issues, because the more you get people out of the smaller homes, the less you need to build them, and the less you need to build them, the less money you need to spend on housing startups and all that type of stuff, right? And get the economy moving within the middle class, and not the economy moving with these big corporations, because all these people that are doing all these big construction builds are the ones that seem to be making the most money, and when they have control over things and they're not wanting to build, then what? So yeah, just a little bit of that. I don't really think there's much else going on here. As you can see, we finally have, what has it been? Oh gosh, I don't know, 8 months almost since we've had a new prime minister, and he's finally been able to get a little bit closer to getting us a trades deal. So we're not going to get too much into that, but pretty wild to see what's going on in this world right now. But yeah, so that's the latest move. Let me know what you think. Obviously, you know my take. I personally think that the government needs to step away. They need to stop doing things, period. I don't care what it is. They're overstepping in so many different ways that they're just not even helping anymore. They're just making things worse. If you want to do anything, get rid of property transfer tax, and that's it. That's going to be one of the biggest things for moving forward, right? Because if you get rid of that property transfer tax, especially now with how much real estate costs, you're going to get people to potentially see themselves moving, because that's like, $15,000 to $20,000 for some people on their next purchase, right? So if you can eliminate that cost or whatever for people, then that's going to be a huge benefit, and I think it's going to help a lot more than all these tax burden startups that the government seems to think are good ideas. So anyways, that's it. That's another episode of the Hibsy Hustle. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.